Boker Or Rabotai, B'Shul Ma'alat Rav. We continue our study of the Tariag Mitzvot, and today we're up to 373. And that is a law of the Nazir, Shelo Yigalayah HaNazir Se'aro Kol Yemen Nizro. It's a negative commandment in Parashat Nasom. Torah tells us that the Nazir is not allowed to shave his hair. Pasuk says, Ta'ar lo ya'avor al rosho. Ta'ar is a razor. So the razor is not allowed to go on his head. It's Perek Vav, Pasuk He. And the laws are as follows. Whether a person who's a Nazir uses a razor to cut his hair, or misparayim ke'en ta'ar, or uses a scissors, but in the way of a razor, where he's able to cut like a blade, or even if he pulled out his hair with his hands, and when he does that, so obviously he pulls it out from the source. In all these cases over here, he gets malkut. But if he used a razor, but he still left some of his hair, according to the Rambam, that as long as there's enough that he can fold it over, that's not considered cutting his hair. And in such a case, he would not get malkut. Let's say he puts sam. Sam is a type of depilatory, like a chemical that he puts on his hair in order to take off the hair. In this case over here, he does not get malkut because he did not use a ta'ar, and that's not considered a giluach ke'en ta'ar. However, he does mevatel mitzvat aseh, because the Torah says by the Nazir, gadel pera, he has to grow his hair. And he didn't grow his hair, although he didn't transgress the isur of cutting his hair in such a case. Let's say a Nazir cut his whole head. He cut every hair on his head. How many lavim does he get? So the Sefer Chinuch says he gets one isur because he got one hatra'ah. However, if they warned him on each hair before he cut it, don't cut the hair, and he said, I don't care, I'm cutting it anyway, and he cut it, so he can get as many hair that he has on his head. That's how many malkut he's able to get. Furthermore, the Chinuch writes that a Nazir is allowed to scratch his head. Chofef. He's allowed to scratch his head with mipaspes. However, he's not allowed to comb his hair. What's the difference? When a person scratches his head, first of all, he doesn't intend for any hair to come out, and it's not automatic that hair is going to come out. Now, therefore, it's davar she'enu mitkaven, and it's not inevitable, therefore it's permissible. However, when it comes to combing, the Hachamim, the Gemara assume that when a person uses a comb, it's definite that some hair is going to come out, and therefore you cannot say you were not mitkaven, because you know what's going to happen. This is the source of the law that we have in Hilchot Shabbat, that one is not allowed to comb his hair on Shabbat. Even though a person says, no, I'll be careful, I comb it, nothing comes out. The halakha assumes that when you comb your hair, something is going to come out, and a person cannot say, well, I was not mitkaven. Not mitkaven is good if you're not sure it's going to happen, but if you're certain going to happen, it's called psik nesher. So we learn from the law of Nazir, that just like a Nazir cannot use a comb because it's automatic, similarly on Shabbat, one would not be allowed to comb his hair. As a matter of fact, the Mishnah Berurah is very strict on this, where he writes that if a person comes to the Bet Knesset and his hair is groomed properly, this can be considered Mehalel Shabbat b'farhishya, because what's the only way his hair can be like this must be that he combed it. But that will leave for the laws of Shabbat and for the rabbi. Furthermore, how much does he have to cut from his hair in order to be Hayav Malkut? The Sefer Chinuch says, even if he cut one hair, even one strand of hair that he cut, he's already over on Malkut. However, after the Nizirut is over, then there's a mitzvah of Giluah. Then there's a mitzvah to cut his hair, and regarding that, he does not fulfill the mitzvah of Giluah as long as there's two hair left on his head. As long as he still has two hair left, he does not fulfill the mitzvah, so he really has to cut it almost all off. Furthermore, there's a halakha of sitira. Sitira means that sometimes the Nazir has to start his count over again. Now, how much of his hair does he have to cut in order to reset the Nazirut? Halakha says if he cut one hair, although he made an isur, his Nazirut still continues. If he cut two hair, his Nazirut still continues. As a matter of fact, his Nazirut continues until he cuts the majority of his head off. So as long as he keeps the majority of his head, although he made it Isur Lav, the Nazirut continues. Once already he cut Rov Rosho, now already the Nazirut is nullified and he has to start again. Of course, this law applies in all places, at all times. Men and women are equal in the laws of Nazir. That means even today, if somebody would say, I accept a vow of Nazirut, and then he would go take a razor, and would cut even one hair. In our times, although there's no punishment of Malkut, but in the times of the Bedin, they would actually give him the severe punishment of Malkut min Torah.